12th Standard, Chapter 5, Part 3. Legal issues in e-commerce and m-commerce. As you know that e-commerce activity and m-commerce activity is performed on global internet without observing any national boundaries. So it faces many legal challenges because we might be purchasing from a website which is not based in India, and then we have some product is not satisfactory, and then there can be so many legal issues to fight. So enforcement of legal rules and regulations provides confidence to the customers that their personal information remains secret and will not be misused. So security is the most important part of e-commerce or m-commerce, as customers provide their sensitive information like credit card details and bank account number and other things. Many countries have already established their legal framework for e-commerce and m-commerce, including India. Indian government has also established the IT laws under the IT Act, that is Information Technology Laws. The intellectual property. Now, what is intellectual property and how we can secure that property? So, intellectual property are the information, any kind of information which includes books, software, music, video, some copyrights, some trademark, and other web pages. So such property over internet must be secured. So copyright. Now what is copyright? Copyright provides the author with a tool to protect his or her original work from being used for or taken by others without permission. So we see that copyright symbol, and wherever we see that copyright symbol means we can't use it without their owner's permission. Copyright is applicable to books, software programs, and even articles. Copyright law protects intellectual property in its various forms and cannot be used freely without permission. It is very difficult to protect intellectual property in e-commerce and m-commerce, that we all know, even though few things are copyrighted on any website, but I can easily copy paste it without even informing the original owner. Trademark. Trademark is a specific logo or some marking or some word symbol or design or phrase or even image which is used by an individual or a company to distinguish a product or service from that of the other in the market. So like Britannia and Amul, they both producing butter, but they have different trademark. So to identify them from one another. Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they both are in the soft drink market, but they have their own trademark. So a trademark may be designated by the following symbol, that is TM, SM, or even R. Domain name dispute. Now what is domain name dispute? The competition over domain names is another legal issue. Earlier, the domain names means website name, were given on first come first serve basis. Thus people would register names that were not even useful but would be for some importance in future. Later on, such domain names they were sold to concerned company at a very high price. So this is called cyber squatting. I don't require any particular website name, but I register that name, that domain name, and then whenever somebody requires it, I sell them with some very high price. So that is called cyber squatting. Another problem is name changing, where someone registers purposely misspelled variation of well-known domain names. This misleads the consumer, who generally make typographical errors while entering a URL. So for Google, there may be other variation of Google with little changes in the spelling, and sometimes that is how we end up to a unknown website just because of a small spelling mistake. Protecting intellectual property. Now that was securing intellectual property. Now here it is protecting intellectual property. I don't know why these two different topics are given, which has same meaning of the heading, but anyway it is given in the textbook, so we'll discuss it. Protecting, how we can protect our intellectual property over internet. So the first is steganography. Steganography is the process of hiding information within another information. We hide one information within another information, so that is called steganography. The information in the files, if not protected, can be used for any malicious purpose. So it is very important to hide. Steganography works by replacing unused data in computer files such as images, sound, or text with invisible information. This information, hidden information, can be plain text, ciphertext, or even images. And there are special software which is used for steganography, and there are freeware version available over internet which can be easily downloaded. So steganography is hiding information within another information. It's something like we can't see that hidden information, but we understand that that information is lying somewhere, but we don't know where exactly it is. So that is called steganography. Digital watermarking. This is very popular. You must be knowing when any particular school gives some litho to their students, they put digital watermark in the background so that to make sure that it is properly protected. So watermark is a digital code inserted into image or audio or video file which can identify the file's copyright information. Watermarking is also hiding information in a totally invisible manner, so we can't see that where actually it is hidden. The invisible embedded watermark helps to identify the owner of the work. Digital watermarking may be useful to set up controlled audio distribution and to provide efficient means for copyright protection. In the field of data security, watermarks can be used for certification and authentication. So watermark is a way by which we can control piracy of our intellectual property over internet. So that is digital watermarking. Digital watermarking also can link information to on the document. For example, the name of a passport owner is normally printed in the clear text, plain text. But using digital watermark, the name can also be hidden in the passport photo. And this is what it happens, that within the photograph, there is our name or some particular identification number is also written, through which we can, or the official can, they can identify that whether this photograph is of the same passport holder or not. A visible digital watermark can be added to any image using photo editor tools like GIMP. GIMP is a free open source photo editing tool mainly used by Linux environment. Now the last topic of chapter 5, and that is payment in e-commerce and m-commerce. You know that payments, every e-commerce activity ends with payment. Once you make the payment, then only the e-commerce activity is considered to be complete. So electronic payment systems are becoming more and more important for online businesses, and this finance and exchange that take place online between the buyer and the seller. So let's see the different ways of payment. The first and most important method of payment which is used worldwide is credit card. Credit card is issued by to the customer by the bank, and that bank is called issuing bank. So if I have a credit card which I got from Axis Bank, then Axis Bank for me is a issuing bank. Issuing bank provides the credit cards of the financial institutions which are established and reputed in the service of credit card business. So basically, Axis Bank is not in the business of credit card. Axis Bank is only a medium. The actual credit card service is provided by either MasterCard or Visa or American Express or even Rupee. So there can be many different organizations. Depending upon the customer's credit history and income level, credit limits are provided. And up to that limit, the customer can spend and pay to the issuing bank within the billing period. So everybody will have different settings for the credit card depending on their income and expenditure. For accepting payment on website through credit card, merchant needs to open a merchant account with the bank, and that is called acquiring bank. So merchant has to open an account with acquiring bank. Acquiring bank is nothing but all this credit card provider, that is Visa and MasterCard. Acquiring banks provide the service of online authorization and payment processing. Authorization is the process of verifying whether the card is active, the credit limits are available, and verifying the other details of the customer like billing information. So during authorization, our credit card details will be checked whether the card is valid, the amount which we are trying to spend is allowed, and everything. Credit cards are widely accepted by merchants and provide assurance to the customer as well as to the merchant. During the process of credit card payment, four parties are involved. This is very important to understand that which are the four parties and what they do. One is the customer with credit card, second is the merchant accepting the credit card payment, third is issuing bank from which we get the credit card, and fourth is acquiring bank, that is the financial institution in the business of credit card, that is MasterCard and Visa and like that. Two more entities play a role in online payment, and they are payment gateways and processors. Now what is that? Payment gateways are services provided by the third parties like PayPal, trusted third party, if you remember, TTP. So trusted third party like PayPal, which connects networks of all the parties. The parties which we see in the previous slide, all those four parties, they get connected to each other through a payment gateway. And that payment gateway process is provided by third party like PayPal and other. What they do is they perform the authorization and payment in secure manner. Processors, second thing, the processors are data centers. It is just simply data center where every credit card's details and histories are recorded. So which performs the credit card transaction and settle fund to the merchant. Processors are connected to the e-commerce site of the merchant through payment gateways. So what you understand from this is that payment gateway is the central part which connects rest of the all the entities involved in credit card payment like customer, merchant, and credit card company, that is issuing bank and acquiring bank, and processors. The online payment through credit card is divided into two parts. The first one is authorization and second is settlement. During authorization, card detail along with the transaction detail is transferred to the payment gateway, and payment gateway passes to the processor. As we know now, the processor will have all the details of our card, whether card is valid, amount is valid, and everything. So it will check everything, and then which in turn give that pass in that information to issuing bank for the verification of the information. After verification, issuing bank sends a status of verification to the processor, which in turn passes it to the payment gateway. Finally, payment gateway sends the result of the transaction to the merchant's website, and then next step is settlement. So first step, it verifies the card detail where processors and issuing banks are involved, and then through payment gateway this information goes to merchant account, and then second step, that is the next step, is settlement. During settlement, fund is transferred to the amount is transferred from the customer account to the merchant's account, but that thing happens after certain days because we are getting credit limit. So maybe after 10 days or 15 days or 20 days or whatever you have the setting with the bank. During settlement, again there are certain steps. Merchant sends the transaction request with all the details to the payment gateway, which sends it to the processor. Processor sends the payment details to the issuing bank, the same thing which we discussed. Then finally the acquiring bank credits the amount. See, the third point is very important. The acquiring bank, that is Visa and MasterCard, they credits the amount to the merchant account. It is not debited from our account because we are getting credit period. The issuing bank, after including all the charges, sends the bill to the customer, which customer, that is we, needs to pay within certain period of time. Most credit card companies use the SET, that is Secure Electronic Transfer Security System, to make online transaction secure. Debit card is same as credit card. The only difference is using debit card when we are doing any purchase or making any purchase, the amount is immediately deducted from our account. Rest of the things are same. So debit card is same as credit card, except here we are not getting credit period. If I am purchasing something right now, the amount must be available in my bank account at the same time. Whereas in using credit card, suppose I am purchasing something worth rupees 20,000, but in my account I have only 2,000 rupees. Then also I can make that purchase because I am supposed to furnish that 20,000 after certain days. So that is the difference between credit card and debit card. Smart card looks like credit card but is different as it contains a microchip embedded on its surface. In fact, again, because this is old textbook of almost 7-8 years, nowadays all the credit cards are smart card with microchip on it. So it contains user private information and other information. Smart card is safer than normal credit and debit card as the information stored in the smart card is encrypted. So normal credit card will have only magnetic tape behind, which they need to the merchant needs to swipe, whereas the smart card will have microchip like our mobile chip, golden chip, which they insert in the instrument and takes the payment. It can store 100 times more information than normal credit card, and again it is more secure. Charge card. A charge card is a form of payment mechanism wherein the customer can pay through the card to the vendor. As compared to credit card that have a credit limit, charge card does not carry any limit. Customer has to pay the total amount used at the end of the billing period to the company that has issued the charge card. So if you go to a game zone or food zone where you get card, you pay 10,000 rupees and they give you a card charge with 10,000 rupees, which does not require any kind of security or signature or authentication. Net banking, there is nothing to say much about net banking. You all are very much familiar. Using banking system through mobile is net banking. So net banking system is seen as being safer than using credit card, and it is very much used by users nowadays. EFT or NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfer. It means transferring money from one account, it is one account, to another account electronically. The popularity of NEFT or EFT for online billing payment is nowadays growing. The benefit of electronic fund transfer includes reduced administrative cost. No person is involved, no paper, no check, nothing is involved. We do everything electronically. Increased efficiency because it doesn't take more time. You just send the money through electronic, that is EFT, and immediately the receiver will receive it. Simplified bookkeeping because automatically it is recorded. So there is no need of any human being to record the transaction, and greater security. The number of companies who send and receive bills through the internet is still relatively small, but it is increasing. So again, this is an old sentence. Nowadays, you know that most of the companies, they accept payment through online payment. E-wallet, students, you must be much more familiar with e-wallet rather than even me, because e-wallet is something which most of us are using. For example, Paytm, Freecharge, Google Pay, all these are e-wallets. So e-wallet service makes the shopping or booking of tickets or any activity, e-commerce or m-commerce activity, easier for its customer. The best part is e-wallet already stores the data. So every time you don't need to type those data. So it's an electronic card for making sure secure online payment towards a merchant. While making payment through e-wallet, the customer is not required to provide the credit card number and all these details because it is already stored. First time when you do the transaction, you need to enter, then it remembers that. So you just need to give the OTP and CVV number. That's it. You don't need to remember credit card number or enter that. So e-wallet makes payment very fast. Rupee. Rupee is nothing but pure Indian credit card. Rupee payment. The only limitation is you can make payment in rupees, and it is developed by NPCI, that is National Payments Corporation of India, NPCI. So Mastercard and Visa and all these are popular credit card, but they are foreign companies. So while using these cards, we are losing some revenue from us. So that some revenue goes out of the country. So this transaction involves additional charges when we use Mastercard or Visa and other. But Rupee card is a domestic alternative to other payment card. So since all the transactions are processed within India, the cost of each transaction clearing and settlement will be reduced. So Rupee card is a pure Indian card where no foreign companies are involved. It makes transaction smoother, and for merchant also it is cheaper to use payment through Rupee card. So that's it. Chapter 5, little lengthy chapter, but so much of different topics. If you have any comment, you please write, and don't forget to subscribe the channel for content other than your regular studies. Contents like different tips and tricks of Windows and Microsoft Office and other things. So keep watching. Thank you. Stay safe. Bye bye.